let's go ahead. Let's crack this open. And let's go to Jake first. Jake, you have quite a few players highlighted here. And one specific that I want to talk about at the running back position that is now getting steamed up draft boards following a bit of particular news that we received this week.
Yep, and that's going to be Jerome Ford. He's coming off the board currently coming off the board in the ECR. He's sitting at RB 53, 163 overall. This is more of if you're listening to this and your league's drafting soon, get him while you can, because he's going to shoot up boards very heavily. He's familiar with the system. He knows the offense. He's been here for forever. Yes, they brought in Quinshon Judkins, and obviously, the allegations going on around him are definitely not great for his outlook. Definitely not good considering everything else that Cleveland has done in terms of player choices over the last few years. But Ford, he knows the system. If that offense has shown you anything, if Kevin Stefanski's shown us anything, it's that he likes guys who know his system, and you can just go out there and play. And it's not like Jerome Ford is a world beater. He's fast. He's got a good speed score. He's a solid running back. He's a solid depth piece that they have. But we got to remember this guy, even last year in only 104 carries, admittedly, he still averaged 5.5 yards a carry. He still showed a lot of potential in his game. 7th amongst all running backs in yards per touch, 9th in true yards per carry, 13th in overall in juke rate. Like, the guy's got some skills. And when you're looking at this offense, and the quarterback position is a mess, I think, when you're looking at Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel,
Flacco,
Shadur, it's a mess. We don't know who's going to play quarterback. The wide receiver room is improved from last year.
Sure.
Stefanski's offense has always gone through the running back, and I don't imagine that changing. So Jerome Ford at this value here is just too good to pass on, because we're talking about a guy who has handled 200 plus carries in a season for him before.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. That's like the question mark here with Jerome Ford for me, is that in 2023, when Nick Chubb ends up getting injured, he takes over 200 carries that year, also chips in a good 44 receptions. He was, a borderline, I don't want to call him a fantasy rock star, but he was definitely a guy who helped fill an RB2 position for many managers down the stretch. And then he comes into 2024. He's supposed to be this lead back guy. People are drafting him that way, that, hey, until we get Nick Chubb back, Jerome Ford, he's a spot start for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks maybe. And it just felt like Donta Foreman was carving into that role way too much. We see some Pierre Strong as well, to the point where, yeah, Jerome Ford did miss a couple games, but his carries went all the way down to 104, still kind of held in that 30, 40 reception mark. So I just don't know how much they like Ford anymore is my issue with it. But I do agree that he needs to be drafted, as we're opposed before. Maybe we didn't think so. I'm going to go on the other side of this coin, though. I'm going to go with Dylan Sampson, 203 overall ECR, and also RB 60 in the rankings right now. And I wasn't super high on Dylan Sampson as a prospect, but still a guy who led the SEC in rushing, carried Tennessee to a CFP berth last season. And like, with Quinshon Judkins arrested here on these alleged domestic violence charges, I think there is a chance that we do see some love for Sampson as well as a rookie, if the Ohio State product is placed on like maybe some commissioner's exempt list. Because like, bottom line, we're not going to get a result of this before the season, right? We're not going to. This is going to be something that's going to play out in the legal system. We all know how that goes. It goes on and on and on and on. But maybe there's an exempt list for Quinshon Judkins, and that would be the part that really screws it up for fantasy if you have Judkins, like I know Jake and I do over there in the Scott Fishbowl streets. But last season, like the ghost of Nick Chubb, Donta Foreman, Pierre Strong, as I mentioned, they combined for 199 carries in this offense. So touches are available. Even if let's say there's no Judkins at all, and let's say Ford takes 150, I think Dylan Sampson's a credit to get 150 of his own as well. And Jerome Ford, I think, will be involved, but I think this situation more reminds me of the Packers, like 2017 backfield, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. Jamal Williams was drafted later than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones banged up with injuries, some off-the-field stuff going on as well, that Jamal Williams, by the end of that season, he was the running back you wanted to roster, not Aaron Jones, not any of the veterans. So I think if you draft Judkins, you're drafting Sampson now, or you're drafting Ford. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not drafting one of those, you're not drafting Judkins, Steve, you still have to be in on Sampson or Ford, I think, at the price they're going at the back half of drafts.
Yeah, definitely, right? I mean, this is the 203rd overall player. Like, if he's coming off the board that late, I mean, in most cases, that's a free agent, right? I mean, that's what you're looking at here. So,
Do you prefer him or Ford?
I prefer Sampson. Listen, Jerome Ford always has a good yards per carry average because he is a very boomer bust kind of guy. He kind of has those breakaway
Yeah,
long
he
runs.
does. He
But
does.
the problem
Yeah.
is the reason why he doesn't get the majority of the carries, even with that good yards per carry, is because most of the time he goes backwards. He'll kind of like -1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, -1, 40. And that kind of averages it all out. So I don't like guys like that. I know Stefanski doesn't either. He'd rather have that 4.5 yards that you can kind of take to the bank than this like east-west running style that Jerome Ford has. Good receiving back. That's good for a receiving
Yeah.
back to go
Yep.
east and west. But you need to be a north-south runner in a Stefanski system. Sampson is a lot more of that. So I like Sampson better.
I feel like Ford is the guy here, Jake, that probably has the safer floor. And
Mhm.
Sampson, you're kind of chasing the ceiling if Quinshon Judkins is to miss time. Is that how you kind of view it as well? And who do you prefer out of those two?
Yeah, I do view it very similarly. I think we kind of know what the roles are going to be. I do imagine these two to kind of be the go-to running backs in the offense. I'm not comparing it directly scheme-wise, but it's giving David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, albeit both players are less talented.
Sure.
Like if you look at Jerome Ford from 2024, third highest light front carry rate in football, sixth highest shotgun carry rate in football. Like in passing situations, Ford was the guy they wanted on the field 99% of the time, it feels like. He was over 75% on both of those. He rarely ever carried the ball in base formations or, stacked fronts. His defender in the box number was low. So, like, Sampson he's a bigger body. He's slower, which is going to impact that as well. And when I say bigger body, like obviously he's shorter and lighter, but he's more compact is what I mean when I say that.
Sure.
I think Sampson gives you more of that bruiser type back, but I think Jerome Ford gives you more of that kind of game-changing ability that I think Sampson lacks a little bit.